Hello, I'm Felicity Brand, aka Flickstar, and in this video I'll show you some techniques for writing the task section in your step-by-step guide. Here's what we'll look at: chunking your procedure, using clear language, describing expected outcomes, and using visual aids to create clear, effective steps. Let's take a look at chunking. This is where you separate a task into sections using headings. Here is an example of an unbroken flat list of steps. It can be overwhelming for learners. If we take a look at this example, we can split the steps into 3 sections based on where the action is taking place. So first we have the back-end user interface, then we've got some work in the file system, and then the learner is in a file, so they're probably using a text editor. We can insert some headings to chunk this procedure, and instantly we can see visually that it becomes less dense. It's a lot more approachable and digestible for the learner. How do you know where to create the separations? Typically it's where the work takes place, but that might not always work. So just look for natural separations where you can insert headings to break up the steps in your procedure. Let's take a look at how you can write to create effective steps in your guide. The first principle is that each step should describe one action. In this poor example on the left, there's a lot of words. If we look closer, we can see that that's actually 3 separate steps, so we can separate those out to make them nice and clear. The next principle is to use links to abstract detail. Clear language means concise language, so we want to remove extra words. And a really good way to do that is to link out to somewhere else that's already described what you're trying to say. And in this example, the link is going to the editor's guide in the official documentation. You want to present information in a logical sequence. In this poor example on the left, we're telling the learner what to click on before we've told them which menu to find that in. So we want to tell the reader where to go first and then what to do once they get there. Lastly, for clear language, we want to use numbered steps. So we're talking ordered list rather than unordered list. And we want to start with a verb, and that's an action or a doing word. In this poor example on the left, we can remove any language that hints at sequence, first, now, next. We can just get rid of those because the numbers are doing all the hard work for us. And that leaves us with nice clear verbs at the start: navigate, create, paste. Let's move on to talking about expected outcomes and feedback. Anytime the learner performs an action and there's a noticeable result, it's really good to describe the result because it reassures the learner that they're on track. Here are some examples. We click on a button and a wizard displays. After an action, there's a server response. In the third example, the learner is clicking on a button and the result is that something happens in another application. So it's really good to describe these things to keep the learner on track. Another type of expected outcome is feedback, where you can highlight surprising results or common errors. We want to try and anticipate the learner's experience. And if you know that a command is going to return hundreds of lines, it's really good to mention that. If you think the learner is going to be looking for a save button, mention that there isn't one. In that third example, that's anticipating a common error or a gotcha. If there are points in the process where you know a learner might stumble, it's good to call that out to reassure them that you are managing their experience. Finally, let's look at what visual aids you can use to make your steps easy to follow. There are 4 here that I'll cover: code blocks, screenshots, tables, and sub-steps. If you need to include code in your step-by-step guide, please do so. If you're not familiar with Markdown, you enclose code using backticks. and it will automatically get rendered into the presentation you see here. And the learner gets this handy copy button so they can copy your code and follow along. Screenshots. You don't need to include a screenshot for every step. In fact, it's better to minimize them because they date so quickly and they require maintenance. Having said that, a picture tells 1,000 words. In this example, the steps are talking about different features in the user interface, and it's just really handy to visually show what the learner should be seeing on their screen as they go through your guide. Substeps can reduce your broader step count and help learners focus on a specific subtask. In this example, we've gone from a 5-step to a 3-step procedure just by using a second level ordered list to group actions that take place together. Tables. This is another way to reduce your broader step count. Why is that important? We want to minimize overwhelm. We've gone from a 12-step procedure here down to 6, and that's by using a simple 2-column table. Really useful if you're describing how to fill out a configuration screen or input data into form fields. So we've looked at chunking your content, using clear language, describing expected outcomes, and a variety of visual aids that you can use to create really effective steps in your step-by-step guide. And all of this information can be found in the contributors guide. Look for the using the template page and jump down to the task section for all the details. And as always, you don't need to get it perfect. Just give it your best shot. All contributions are welcome, and thank you very much.